December the 4th, Wizards beat the Pistons 88-83. Here's Hamilton with the first shot and rebounded by Hughes. Michael Jordan picked up by Chauncey Billups. And they clear it out. Now Robinson over to help. Nice backdoor pass, but Leitner trying to find Hayward along the baseline.
I mean, Christian gave a look like as if you're supposed to handle that pass. Come on, he's in the air jumping, bouncing it off the guy's ankles. How are you supposed to handle that one?
Here's Michael Kerr being played by Michael Jordan. And Billups shooting over Larry Hughes comes up with air. And here's it from the crowd. A live TNT NBA Thursday Spanish language feed is now available via SAP. Christian Leitner, a one-time member of these Detroit Pistons. Here's Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan on Curry and let Michael kind of be a center fielder out here, not paying that much attention to Curry, not concerned if he's a primary scorer. As Hamilton hits that little in-between floating jump shot, and as Doug Collins mentioned to us today, Hamilton might be the best mid-range jump shooter in the NBA. You get him in that 15-foot, 17-foot area, he makes those shots.
And Doug Collins made the exact point on their pick-and-roll defense. They were going to trap Hamilton, but not to allow him to split. He's a scorer. He's thinking shot, not pass. He split the two defenders, pull-up jump shot.
Rare misses the line for Hamilton. Michael Jordan comes right back.
And Hamilton step in. They talked about yesterday where they bailed out and didn't take the charge. Obviously, that meeting had an effect. Hamilton steps in, puts his body on the line.
7 unanswered points for the Pistons the last minute and a half. Another 3 attempted by Robinson, and Hamilton gets to the loose ball.
Two things they've talked about. Obviously charges and rebounding the ball the other.
Nice.
This comes into the game shooting 42% from the floor, averaging 12 points already. As you mentioned, 4 for 5, 10 quick points behind the three-point line, 2 out of 3 from behind the three-point line, and an easy layup to add to his total right now. So Robinson already with 10.
Last year, Robinson started 80 games at center, played well. Appeared to be worn down, though, in the postseason. Led the Pistons in minutes played last year. Here's Hughes taking it to the rim.
Nobody saw the basketball. You had 2 people for Detroit trying to fight for rebounding position. Didn't realize the ball was driving right up their back for an easy layup.
Hamilton. That's a 2-pointer. And fast start for Richard Hamilton, the one-time Wizard, 4 of 6 for 8 points. When Jeff and I were talking with Rick Carlisle earlier tonight, he mentioned that the problem in that first meeting between these two clubs is Jordan was able to hit. The Wizards, he said, were very physical and did a very good job on Richard Hamilton. All right, Curry gets it back. Billups, nice setup. And Wallace with a rare field goal.
Why did you say when you and Jeff?
We were looking for you, and Rick was very upset that felt you blew him off.
Actually, you can tell the truth. He wasn't upset at all. In fact, I sensed joy. But
what you didn't realize is I had a private meeting set up with him for a little bit afterward.
All right, here's Billups with the step. 4.5 remaining in this first quarter, and the Pistons up by 9. Hayward is hit from behind, took a whack in the back of the head from Billups. Let's check in with Craig Sager. Craig?
Well, Bob, a very disappointing Christmas for the Wizards' #1 draft pick, Jared Jeffries. A second opinion confirmed today that he will be out for the year with a torn ACL on his right knee. He accidentally stepped on Christian Leitner's foot last Sunday at practice in Dallas. Did a little bunny hop trying to keep his balance, and that's when he tore it. Now, Doug Collins said tonight that he really loved his work ethic. Although he was averaging just 13 minutes with 4 points and 3 rebounds a game, he planned to put put him in the rotation in the second half of the year, not only at the 3 and 4 position, but they've been working him out at point forward. Last year, if you recall, he was the Big Ten MVP and led Indiana at the NCAA Finals. Unfortunately, this could set him back and actually make next year his rookie year.
All right, thanks, Craig. Jahidi White still out recovering from knee surgery. Juan Dixon, sprained left elbow. He's been on the injured list. He's out about another 10 days, and he's been coming on. He had that career-high 18-point game in 29 minutes against the 76ers. Hamilton for 3. And Hughes able to elude Robinson. Oh, what a play from Michael Jordan to Christian Laettner, and then Brendan Haywood puts it down.
Mark, going back to Jeffries for a second, they're going to hold off doing surgery for about 2 weeks. They want some of that swelling to go down, and that's when they will go in and do the surgery on his ACL. It was a torn ACL if they're going to wind up being a playoff team.
3.5 remaining in this first quarter. 5-point Detroit lead. Here's Wallace with a spinning jump shot. Both teams remain the same following that timeout. Jordan, yes. Michael hitting the jumper here at the start. He has 6 points, 3 of 5 from the field.
And we saw them work on that particular play at the shoot-around this morning, trying to get Michael Jordan on an initial cut, but really swinging it to him on the opposite side of the floor where he becomes the third option and winds up with an open jump shot.
Here's Curry off the screen. A cross-court pass to set it up for Michael Curry.
I talked to Michael Jordan before the game, and he said if he is not elected by the fans, he does not plan to go, which, of course, this could be his last year in the league and his last All-Star appearance. Right now, Tracy McGrady and Allen Iverson have the 2 top spots in the Eastern Conference. We checked the league to see if there'd be some type of commissioner's exception to get Michael in there, but he said if he's not elected, he plans to take the week off and relax in the Bahamas and get ready for the second half of the year. That'd be a major disappointment in Atlanta.
That's a surprising development. I would think that it is his finale, that he would want to be there. Meanwhile, Hamilton called for the foul, and once again the Wizards at the line.
I would still think that there's a little bit of time before we have to get to that point and make the final decisions. I think when Michael thinks about it, and probably will receive a call from the commissioner's office, depending on how the votes come out. This is a very special moment for the fans also who have followed Michael Jordan's career. If this, in fact, is going to be his last season, which he says it is. And another thing, Mark, why was it such alarming news to everybody a couple weeks ago when Michael said, this is my last year? He made the commitment to play 2 years here and said he would fulfill his contract. That's what he's doing. At the end of this year, it's over.
I don't know if the word would be alarming. I think people were startled. Here's Hughes off the steal. Wizards are within 1 off a 10-2 run.
And Washington is falling back into zone. Corliss Williamson at the 3 spot. Washington in their shoot-around today said they play a lot of zone to try to take away his post-up game.
Corliss Williamson, who just came on for Michael Curry. Shot clock down to 1. Here's Barry. John Barry from downtown.
Both sides of the zone, you saw it work right there to perfection. The one side of it is it forces the offensive team to wind up perimeter most times. Good side of it for the offensive team, if your guy makes a jump shot, you do well against the zone.
Pistons have hit 3 of 5 from beyond that 3-point line. Jerry Stackhouse works with 11 points. Coming up next, right here on TNT, it's Game 2 of our exclusive NBA coverage. Toronto Raptors taking on the Seattle Supersonics. Now tomorrow on ESPN2, it's the Bucks and the Nets starting 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Also on ESPN2 on December 31st, Spurs and Wizards starting 8 o'clock Eastern Time. And next Thursday, back here on TNT, it'll be Michael Jordan returning to Chicago. We'll be there as the Wizards face the Bulls. And in Game 2, it's the Suns and the 76ers. And a loose ball foul is called.
Every time Williamson comes down the lane, he's encountering the next Washington defender stepping up. He did a good job that time of stepping inside of Washington's defense, but once he came down the lane, there was the next defender.
And the zone is taking Detroit out of what they want to do, which is isolate and post Williamson, and so it's having its effect, and they've got to be more efficient against the zone.
Russell on a quick release. Got a piece of the glass from a difficult angle. Ryan Russell has seen his playing time diminish since Michael Jordan has been put in the starting lineup. Beautifully done. Ben Wallace taking the lob, and the Pistons now trail by 3.
You saw the confusion taking place in the back line for Washington. They did not know who was taking the corner and who was staying in the post area.
Jordan being guarded by Barry. Vintage Michael Jordan.
Well, they're going at that matchup against Barry. They're going to try to make him guard in the post. First it was Stackhouse, now it's Jordan. A couple more scores, and they may have to double team for John Barry.
Michael is 4 of 6 from the field, and the Wizards now lead by 5.
Christian Laettner just felt like a lonely man out there. He gave the signal for the zone defense, but the other 4 guys decided.
Pistons have averaged 100 points per game. That's a high number for Detroit. There were a couple of overtimes involved there, but they've given up 97 points in that stretch. What's going on?
Well, like you said, a couple overtime games, but they're just not defending the way they're capable of. Plus, when they do get stops, they're not following it up with.
Look at this game as a major test against one of the better teams in the league. Jordan kept alive by Brown. Kwame Brown with the putback. Wizards at 12 and 15, but they beat only 3 teams with winning records: Boston, Utah, and Detroit. They are tied for that 8th and final playoff spot with Milwaukee, but they have not been able to come up with victories against the better club. They've had meltdowns and inopportune moments, and it's not necessarily the younger players. As you touched on earlier, Mike, veterans have been in the lineup for the most part in recent weeks, and they have not executed, particularly in recent losses to New Jersey and San Antonio, Portland, and Dallas.
Sometimes you look at the overall performance. I think Doug Collins and his staff were pleased with the way they played at San Antonio and at Dallas.
And frankly, Washington's a little bit limited offensively, particularly inside, so they never get the easy bailout of throwing in the low post to a big man getting easy scores.
Williamson. And Hughes able to collar that rebound. Larry Hughes now at the point. Jerry Stackhouse taking a shot from Richard Hamilton. It's a good matchup. The 2 guys who were traded for each other, and actually was a 6th player deal last September. Stackhouse at the other end defending against Hamilton. And Jordan over to commit the foul. That's his 2nd.
Michael was just waiting for him to reverse and spin to the baseline. He was right there waiting to strip him, but too much arm. The foul was called.
These are rare appearances at the line for Detroit.
Detroit outscored by 10 right now at the foul line. Make that 9 at the free throw line. They're right in the game, just a 3-point difference.
Pistons to the line only 5 times, 4 of 5 at the line. Washington has attempted 18 free throws. The matchup continues between Hamilton and Stackhouse at both ends. That pass broken up. Okoro for 3.
He didn't make that shot, but he sure looked comfortable shooting it. Shot without hesitation.
Now Stackhouse guarded by Atkins. Hughes from straight away from downtown. Kwame Brown, yes. 6 points for Kwame.
Kwame went and got it. Kwame shot it. Why, I worked hard for it. Why should I pass it back out, right?
It's true, and the only person that's even looking to defensive rebound down there on that sequence is Ben Wallace. Everybody else has a responsibility, as Hamilton's fouled on the drive, to go and pursue the ball. I think Wallace is such a dominant rebounder that sometimes the other Pistons just look around and say, hey, that's up to Ben to go get the ball.
Well, you know, rebounding's hard. Leave it to somebody else.
Foul on Stackhouse, tripping fouls, halftime report.
Hey, Mark, this is off topic, but you do football. Wasn't that like a leg whip, like they say in football? What's a leg whip? Where you sort of like stick the leg out there?
You have to be double jointed.
Double jointed.
Very few guys can do that.
Can do that, all right? Mike doesn't know what we're talking about. He's not hip to the...
He loses his concentration. You notice that?
No focus.
Shot clock Down to 5. Stackhouse.
That was a rim pass to himself. He hit the rim, go get it, lay it back in.
Williamson off the break is foul. Took the shoulder from Leitner. So for Leitner, his second.
You'll see Williamson, he knows he's going to get hit. He goes right into Leitner coming on. Leitner leaves his feet up in the air, therefore the contact and foul on Leitner.
Both teams now over the foul limit. Corliss Williamson in his 8th season out of Arkansas, last year's 6th Man of the Year winner. With Carlisle admitting that he made a mistake last season not playing Corliss at the start of the year. He has been very effective since coming to Detroit. Originally a first-round pick of the Sacramento Kings back in 1995, and Corliss with 8 points in the second quarter. The Wizards up by 3. Just under 1 minute remaining in the half. Hughes for 3. He was trying to find someone to his right and then said, what the heck, I'll take it.
Stackhouse was coming off a pin down. Chucky Atkins went too early to give help. Hughes stepped back, raised up, and knocked in the 3.
It's the biggest lead of the night for the Wizards, up by 6. Wallace, whoa. And Wallace a bit out of his range. Here's Stackhouse ahead of the field, being chased. Jerry Stackhouse on the breakaway.
Doug Collins calling for the zone right now. They want to go zone on this last possession if they can.
And Rick Carlisle taking a timeout. Wizards with a 49-41 lead. Jerry Stackhouse able to hit. Now says, I'll take a 20-second timeout. Doug Collins, one-time head coach of the Detroit Pistons, spent 3 years with Detroit. In his first year, his team had an 18-game turnaround to make the playoffs for the first time in 4 years, and then had a 54-win season. This is his second year as head coach of the Wizards.
I like talking to him today. A little change in his philosophy. He's changed a little bit along the way. Certain things that may have bothered him a couple years back. He's able to look past them right now. He's got the big picture in mind right here. I think he has a great working relationship with Michael Jordan. And you can respect him, all the players, when you watch him teach on the floor. He really loves the game of basketball, loves teaching the game of basketball, has fun with it.
And while he may have a little bit different perspective, he still has that edge and that fire to be demanding. And you've seen it in Chicago, he won and changed it around. Detroit, he won and changed it around. And here, he's winning and changing it around.
I had a staff meeting earlier today, so I couldn't be with you guys talking to Doug. Did he mention anything about missing his TV color commentating days?
Never brought it up, actually, to be honest with you.
Didn't hear one word of that.
10 seconds remaining in the half. Atkins able to reverse himself. Rejected by Brown. Kwame Brown with the block shot.
And that's what makes his inconsistency so bothering to Doug Collins. Is that he can make a great block as Okur doesn't realize the shot clock had 1 second on it. Kwame Brown switches to pick and roll, then guards Chucky Atkins and then blocks the shot. Why can't he do that on a more consistent basis?
Yeah, they let a 7-footer basically switch on to a quick point guard and knew that he wasn't going to get so far away from him that he couldn't block the shot. There's a high pick and roll. Here's the switch. He waits for him to go up and then just swats it out of bounds.
3.8 remaining in this first half. Doug Collins wanted Christian Leitner to throw it in. Teron Lue. Can he get it off? He does. Well, the Pistons over the last 7 minutes and 15 seconds with just 1 field goal. 1 for their last 10. Jerry Stackhouse, the high man with 13. Michael Jordan with 10. How about Kwame Brown? 6 points, 7 rebounds, 10 apiece for Richard Hamilton. Cliff Robinson. Yes, it's been a good night thus far for the Wizards. Washington in front of Detroit by the score of 49 per game.
Well, I've got a little note here. Where was Ben Wallace and where is Chauncey Billups for the first half? Both guys are missing.
Larry Hughes not able to hit from downtown. And here's Billups with the ball as Detroit sets up.
And even though Washington is up 8, they only had 5 assists. And Doug Collins is always worried about his team when they have low assist totals.
Shot clock down to 5. Hamilton. Wallace able to keep it alive. And Wallace up front with Cliff Robinson, Michael Curry, Richard Hamilton, Chauncey Billups at the guards. Wallace attempting to slam it down. Michael Jordan wide open.
Nobody decided to play Michael. I don't know if they recognized who he was out there on the floor.
Hamilton stopped by Hayward. Here comes Stackhouse. And Hughes passing up on the shot. Stackhouse for 3. Wallace came out, but not far enough.
Poor defense on 2 consecutive trips. First, Jordan comes down in transition. No one guards him. He just misses. Now they have Ben Wallace guarding Jerry Stackhouse. Gives him airspace. Stackhouse makes the wide open 3.
Robinson, nice play. I should point out before it's too late, for those who may not be familiar, Nazareth College, located in Rochester, New York, where Jeff Van Gundy was the starting point guard. We know about Montclair State in New Jersey, the home of the Czar. Robinson picks up number 4. Point, Washington lead. And a defensive 3-second call. Michael Jordan is upset.
You know, that's another one that he never got called for when he was in Chicago. Illegal defense back in the old rules. He can hang in that lane all the time. Some of these calls that he's having called on him are different, to say the least.
Michael Jordan is down, dropped in. If he's in that blue painted area, he cannot be in there for the defensive 3-second count. He's got to be out of there. His heels never quite make it outside the line. It's a fine line, as they say.
Fine line.
Yes.
Shot clock to 5. Hamilton from Phillips.
He just puts the burden on the defense. Larry Hughes gives ground, gets fouled. I like that attacking mentality. If you don't make it, at least you're getting yourself to the free throw line. You're creating the action.
See, to me, Larry Hughes had to step up, take a stand, establish a position, and then whatever happens with Hamilton happens. But you keep backing up, he just takes it right at you.
Last year with Washington, Richard Hamilton averaged 20 points a game. He played only 63 games, set back by injuries at the end of the year. One of the better foul shooters in the NBA. So that Washington lead is cut to 5. Leitner. Yes. Christian Leitner getting lots of room.
That was a great screen by Michael Jordan along the baseline to get Leitner free. Okur got picked off. Leitner comes off clean, knocks in the jumper.
Defensive 3-second call again against the Wizards. And another technical foul awarded the Pistons.
Well, that's the anticipation of Washington trying to gang up wherever they think Rip Hamilton is going to be. They want that next guy there ready to help out. It was Christian Leitner that time.
Head coach of the Pistons from 95 through 98. Jerry Stackhouse, one-time Detroit Piston. And Christian Leitner spent a couple of years with Detroit. Nice play. Jordan comes up short. And last touch by the Pistons.
That was a great move without the ball. He hooked back. He'd been coming off pin downs. Now he hooked back to try to post up. And Leitner's an excellent passer. So he starts off the pin down, hooks back, and just gets caught under the rim a little bit.
He had to come back to the left hand because Ben Wallace went and blocked the other side.
Kwame Brown is back in, replacing Brendan Haywood. Kwame had the strong first half. And Brown is matched up with Wallace. Here's Billups for three. Way off. Got glass. Stackhouse with Hughes. Pistons get back. And Stackhouse draws the foul. They were 2 on 4. And were bailed out by that hacking foul.
Jeff, if the ball is part of the hand and he's hit on the hand, is that a foul or not?
That technically should not be a foul, I don't think.
But I think it should be.
But it should be.
How can you have shooters shoot the ball if you're allowed to hit him in the hand when they shoot?
I don't think there should be any contact on perimeter jump shots. I think we need to protect our shooters more. Inside, let them beat each other up. But on the perimeter, let the jump shooter go up without contact.
I'm with you.
I don't even know what hand part of the ball means. That seems like just such a...
It's a schoolyard call.
Yeah, cliche type thing that we've just taken and accept.
I'm not quite sure we invited you into that.
Fouls called on Okor. Czar's upset because he felt the colors were wrong on his Montclair State jersey. Michael Curry able to hit from the perimeter. That's his second field goal. He has 4.
That's a big-time pass by Okor. He gets it in the post. They had trapped Hamilton off the pin down. He looks cross-court, and he finds Michael Curry.
Pistons are within 2 with 3:20 to go in the third. Good defense here by Detroit. Hughes. Bobby Brown with the rebound. Brown with the spin. Brown with the bucket.
It's almost as if he was bouncing around off of bodies there, didn't know which way to go, and said, let me throw it back up towards the rim and see if it goes in.
The 20-year-old Kwame Brown, the first high school player ever selected. And the Wizards up by 4.
You saw a live-bodied Kwame Brown go up and get that block shot.
Leitner, yes. Wizards have led by as many as 11. A good run by Detroit. They came within 1, and now Washington back up by 6. Hamilton kicking for that baseline. Nice move by Richard Hamilton.
On pick-and-roll situations, you have to force the dribbler into the screen. All the good scorers want to break it off, go away from the screen. That's what Hamilton did and got himself the pull-up jumper.
Jordan trying to go to the crossover against a very solid defensive player. Michael Curry had to give it up. Okor with the rebound. Ed Okor, the rookie by way of Turkey, getting playing time with Cliff Robinson, picking up a 4th foul. Sitting down. Okor's played well.
Mark, speaking of rookies, as Rick Hamilton shoots the jumper and misses, what has happened to Tayshaun Prince in the lineup? He's kind of fallen out of the rotation for the Pistons, hasn't he, Jeff?
Can't play everybody. He started for 5 or 6 games as they put Curry on the bench to experiment. They missed Curry's defense and toughness as he commits the cardinal defensive sin of fouling the jump shooter, but they just felt Curry was too valuable from a defensive standpoint to keep on the bench, but they do like Prince's offensive ability.
Tayshaun, first-round draft pick out of Kentucky. There he is. One of only 6 seniors to be selected in that first round. So Michael Jordan with 2 shots. And the Wizards getting to the line, but not shooting particularly well. 16 for 22 from the line. Washington up by 5 as we approach 1 minute left in the third. And for Jordan, his first point in over 16 minutes. Hamilton gets it down low. Wallace rejected by Jordan. Trying to save it. The question is, was it deflected by one of the Wizards? Yes, it was. Two seconds on the shot clock for Detroit. Hamilton went to the fadeaway, drew the foul. That's 4 on Jordan.
They call him Michael Jordan for hitting Hamilton on the right side of his wrist on that call. It looked from here like he did get him, in fact. You see Michael come down on the forearm. It is a definite foul.
Richard Hamilton going to the pull-up. Richard was asked the other day if there were a special play or a piece of advice that Michael Jordan had given him when they were teammates with Washington. He said, well, one time he told me when I was playing with him, he dribbled the ball and he pulled up and he said, Rip, get this in your game right here. It's the hardest play to guard, a pull-up jump shot. And we've seen it on a couple of occasions here tonight with Hamilton doing it right at Jordan. Hamilton said that he began adding that to his game.
And what else he's doing very well is getting to the free throw line. So even on those nights he doesn't shoot particularly well, get to the free throw line, get those easy hidden points.
Leitner is fouled by Okor third. Blue played by Okor. Here's Hughes. It's waved off, would not have counted. After 3, Wizards with a 63-61 lead on the Pistons. Detroit outscoring Washington 20-14 in the third quarter. You see the numbers. Richard Hamilton, 10 of his 20 coming here in the third. Jerry Stackhouse with 19 for Washington. Guys will not shoot underhand these days because they feel it does not look good. That pass got away from Jordan.
I'll tell you, anything that goes in looks good. And I think if you can't shoot it, you don't have great technique for whatever reason, try plan B.
And plan B has worked in the past as Atkins fires the 3 because it's more efficient. I think there are less mistakes you can make with that underhanded motion.
For people who don't have a naturally soft touch, the underhand shot brings about a softer touch.
Shot clock down to 6. Here's Lou. Yes, nice spinning move by Tyronn Lue, and the Wizards up by 3. Lazar has the look on his face.
That's smirk. No, that's smirk. No, I don't like the smirk.
Obviously, I have nothing to say with you two free throw shooting experts here.
That's how I got in the National Hall of Fame. I shot 84% from the free throw line. Got there about once every month.
Williamson with the follow. These are just late for the first time. Charles in his 16. Oh, it's a backdoor pass from Lou to Brown. And the game is tied at 69. For Oakley, it's only his 16th game of the season, but he has made some major contributions.
This, they feel, is when they play their best defense, when Oakley is on the floor, because such a great team defender, Charles Oakley.
Williamson called for the foul. That's his 4th.
We mentioned before, when you come out of a timeout, it's great to get that execution. The back pick is set that time on Kwame Brown. The pass is perfect, and Kwame with the finish.
Charles Oakley recently celebrated his 39th birthday. Oak tried to set the pick. Lou met by Atkins. And has to pull it back. Shot clock down to 7. Jordan, yes. Been very quiet for Michael the last 20 minutes.
They ran a pick and roll using the 2 guards. You can count Michael Jordan as a small forward or a big guard, whatever you want. But they wanted to get the switch and get a smaller guy on Jordan. That's what they got.
13 points for Jordan. He had 10 in the first half. Robinson. Cliff Robinson ties it at 71.
Jeff, I got a hunch. I think Rick Carlisle just took a gamble, and he brought in Atkins, who hit that three-pointer a little while ago to replace Billups. Chauncey Billups just 1 for 6. I think he's rolling dice that Atkins can get on the roll for him and help him out.
Terrific streak three-point shooter.
Here's Brown. And back comes Barry. 6.5 remaining in this fourth quarter. The game is tied at 71. Wizards have led by as many as 11. They've led most of the way. Wallace comes out to set the pick. Robinson. He wanted to fire it up from three-point land. Robinson with a beautiful save. Barry with the lead and a foul on Kwame Brown. That'll put Ben Wallace back at the line.
But Jeff said it. You have to foul him, particularly in the fourth quarter, make him go to the foul line. This is good ball movement. Drive the seam by Barry. He drops it on the floor. He's looking away because he's got Atkins spotted up in the opposite corner, but he'll take the dunk from Wallace if he can get it.
Wallace 1 for 2 at the line. Just 49% for the season. He is on fire here in the fourth quarter.
But the guy who wound up fouling him is, as they said, the smartest defender as far as team defense. Charles Oakley comes off the bench, realizes he's got to foul this guy. He's not going to give up an easy layup.
Ben Wallace, 3 for 4 from the line.
Okay, so you don't foul Ben Wallace anymore when he goes to the basket.
Pistons 73, Wizards 71. Brown played by Wallace. Quick move by Kwame Brown. Went with the left hand. And then snatched by Chucky Atkins. So Atkins running the team at the point. Atkins and Barry in the backcourt. Wallace, Williamson, and Robinson up front. Here's Barry getting the step. And a foul is called. And Detroit attacking here in the fourth quarter. Timeout is being taken now by the Wizards. Foul on Brown, 13 foul on Washington with 5:43 to go. And a foul call.
You know, interestingly, Patrick Ewing, when we saw him this morning at shoot-around, we mentioned to Doug Collins. Doug, he looks like he's really lost some weight. Doug said he's lost 30 pounds since he's come here. He works out twice a day on the machinery, not going up and down the floor, just in the workout room on the Stairmaster treadmill.
Still strange for you as one of his former coaches to see Patrick Ewing in a suit on the bench holding that clipboard as an assistant.
It's unusual for me to see him as an assistant, but unfortunately, I often saw him on the bench too often these last few years in a suit.
Oh, it's put home on the follow by Wallace. Ben Wallace, very quick to the ball, has given the Pistons a 77-71 lead. 8 unanswered for Detroit.
How many years of experience would that be? A front line of Jordan, Oakley, and Ewing together.
Jordan, yes. The Detroit lead is now 4 with just under 5 remaining in the fourth. Williamson being played by Oakley. Williamson rejected by Leitner. Last touch by Christian Leitner.
And what Washington did was they put Jordan on Ben Wallace because he's not an offensive threat. Leitner's on Robinson. And to take away Williamson's post-up, they put Oakley on Williamson.
8 on the shot clock.
3 seconds.
Barry just did get it inbound. Down to 3. 2. Barry rejected by Jordan. Here comes Hughes. You know, Charles wanted that jumper.
At least once a game he used to take it, right, Jeff?
Very underrated perimeter shooter.
Shot clock down to 5. Hughes to the fadeaway. And they get the new 24.
Charles Oakley just getting a hand there. He doesn't jump very high, but he's strong enough to hold off the next jumper and slap it back out.
Larry Hughes coming off a season high of 24 against Dallas the other night. And locate the shot. Leitner lost it. He thought he was fouled. Robinson took it away. You hear the reaction from this sellout crowd. So the Pistons get it back with 3:39 remaining in the fourth. It's Detroit 77, Washington 73.
And we got to move that ball to our teammate to get an open shot. We're fighting it way too much, okay? So come on now, let's get some stops.
timeout, knowing that the Wizards have only scored 24 points in the second half. They have 11 assists. The ball needs to get moving against one of the best half-court defenses in the NBA. And, as you heard in the background, they need to get easy points by getting to the free throw line.
Only 8 fast break points for the Wizards.
Hamilton hit the floor, back on his feet. Played by Stackhouse. Shot clock down to 4. Williamson guarded by Oakley. Dawes doing an excellent job at the defensive end.
And I think a very interesting substitution by Rick Carlisle. He went back at that time out to Billups and Hamilton as his backcourt, took out Atkins and Barrett.
Pistons have a 4-point lead. 3 minutes remaining in the fourth. Shot clock down to 5. Jordan putting on the floor against Williamson and lost it. Shot clock expires.
Michael lost the handle on the dribble. He was trying to run a little crossover move. He knew the shot clock was at 4 when he looked up. He tried to cross over and get some space. Right here, you see him lose control of the ball just for a split second. Now he looks down at the other end and notices that he's in big trouble as it goes off.
That has to be very frustrating for Michael Jordan. That's his 3rd turnover in this fourth quarter. 4 on the night. It will be Detroit ball. Hamilton thought he was fouled. Shot clock down to 5. Robinson. Oh, what a move. In midair, he was able to change the trickery. Stackhouse involved in that 6-player deal last September. 22 apiece. Hamilton with 7 rebounds. A minute and a half remaining in the fourth. Stackhouse with a nice fake, and the foul is called as Robinson came over trying to help. What a beautiful play as he beat Hamilton off the dribble.
You'll see an outside hand fake, but in the right-hand corner, Christian Laettner is spotted up. You see Laettner's man coming in right there, Robinson. The reason for that is if Robinson was there too early, the kick would have been to Laettner in the corner for the potential 3-point shot. They set that isolation up just to try and get a drawing kick for a 3-pointer or Stackhouse in an isolation.
And Stackhouse is one of the very best at drawing fouls. And when you're trying to make a comeback, one of the best ways to do it is to get to the free throw line, get the action stopped so you can also set your defense at the other end.
Stackhouse, 11 of 12 at the line. The foul on Robinson is 5th. It's a 4-point game. Coming up is the second of our doubleheader. Toronto Raptors, Seattle Sonics. Kevin Harlan, Danny Ainge, John Thompson will have it for you as part of our holiday doubleheader here on TNT. Williamson putting the move on Oakley. What a shot by Corliss Williamson. And it leads to another Washington timeout. A quick hoop right here. Laettner. Oakley with the hustle. Here's Hughes challenging Wallace. Hughes on the follow. It's a 4-point lead with 52 seconds remaining in the fourth.
Could have very easily called the foul on the drive to the basket by Hughes.
They try to trap Billups. And Detroit in no hurry.
And Curry was inserted for defense. They elected not to take the timeout. Now you can come off him to give help against Williamson's isolation.
Williamson off the double team. Back comes Jordan. 25 seconds remaining, and Michael Jordan draws the foul. So that stops the clock. Jordan to the line with the Wizards down by 4 points. Michael 1 for 2 from the line. Those shots in the third quarter.
Jordan knew he had the defense running in transition, so he basically just turns the corner to draw this contact with the defensive player. Curry moving underneath him. Now Michael goes to the line for 2 with a 4-point differential in the game.
Jordan 77% from the line this season. So it's a 3-point differential.
And since there's only a difference of 1.3 seconds from game clock to shot clock, Washington has to pressure the ball, try for the initial steal, and then foul.
And they wound up doing is they reinserted Hamilton in, who's an 84% free throw shooter, and took out Curry, who's shooting just 64%.
Pistons 84, Wizards 82. Rick Carlisle will talk it over with 25.3 to go.
It has to go to make it go to Cliff Robinson, the worst free throw shooter.
They just did get it in, avoiding the 5-second count. And the ball was deflected away and a foul called on Tyronn Lue. So with both teams over the foul limit at this point, Chauncey Billups will go to the line. He's a 79% free throw shooter, 2 for 2 thus far tonight. And hearing it from this crowd with 24.3 to go. Now Christian Laettner checks back in.
You see timeouts left there. The Wizards with just a 20-second timeout remaining, but you can still advance the basketball with a 20-second if you want to.
Carlisle was trying to get Ben Wallace back on the floor. Substitution waved off. Phillips hits 1 of 2 for a 3-point lead, and Doug Collins will use that final timeout. He takes the 20.
All right, Jeff, you had Detroit quickly there at the defensive end. Now you've got him in the huddle at the offensive end of the floor, down 3 points. Where are you taking it, on the baseline or at half court?
If I'm Washington, I move it to half court. I give it to Stackhouse in the middle of the floor, have him drive it to the rim, spot up my other players, take the first best shot. They can still, plenty of time. They don't have to settle for threes right now, even with them being out of timeouts.
So you're saying that if they go to the basket and foul, they'll go take the 2 free throws and then take a chance at playing defense again. They always have enough time to still foul again and put Detroit back at the foul line.
Absolutely. I want it to be a free throw shooting game where there's little time off the clock.
And now you have to look at who the best 3-point shooters are. If you're Detroit talking defense right now, Stackhouse, Hughes, Russell, Jordan, and Lue. And then the other thing Rick Carlisle could be talking about is, do you take a foul if the shot clock gets down low enough? Do you foul him, put him on the line for 2, and not give up the 3-pointer?
8 seconds and below, I'm going to foul to prevent the 3-pointer.
Good pressure from Hamilton.
He cannot move, Marv. That is a spot throw-in. He may not move along the sideline there. We're talking about Stackhouse.
And 3:10 should come off this clock on the deflection.
The official Ed Malloy is making that point over at the official scorers table. And it is now down to an even 24 seconds remaining in the fourth.
And he must get this pass in bounds. There is no chance to turn and say timeout again. They don't have any more timeouts.
And Rush joining Ed Malloy over at the scorers table.
Remember, the inbounder Stackhouse is a very dangerous weapon side out of bounds. Rip Hamilton cannot get out of position, trying to make it difficult to get an entry pass and leave him vulnerable to a give-and-go cut.
All right, Jordan lost it off his foot. Lue with the save. Was he in the backcourt? No. Jordan lost it again. This is a night that Michael Jordan will want to forget about. He has turned it over here in the fourth quarter 4 times. Jordan will throw it in. Stackhouse played very tightly by Hamilton. Washington with 7 turnovers in all in the fourth quarter. Michael Jordan with 4 of the 7. It will not be a happy night for Doug Collins and his staff, as the Wizards at one point led by as many as 11. The Pistons with a strong finish, able to pull it out 87 to 82. The high point man, Jerry Stackhouse with 24, Jordan with 17, Richard Hamilton, the former Wizard, at 22, and Cliff Robinson with 16. Then
all the way back in time. Old School is now in session.
Go freestyle. Get live. NBA Live 2003. Rated E for everyone. EA Sports. It's in the game.